First, if this crisis has taught us anything, it's that risk to our system can come from almost any quarter. We must be able to look in every corner and across the horizon for dangers, and our system was not able to do that. While many of the firms and markets at the center of the crisis were under some form of federal regulation, that supervision did not prevent the emergence of large concentrations of risk. A patchwork of supervisory responsibility, loopholes that allowed some institutions to shop for the weakest regulator, and the rise of new institutions and instruments that were almost entirely outside the government's supervisory framework left regulators largely blind to emerging dangers. And regulators were ill-equipped to spot system-wide threats because each was assigned to protect the safety and soundness of individual institutions under their watch. None was assigned to look out for the broader system as a whole. That's why we propose establishing a Financial Services Oversight Council to bring together the heads of all the major federal financial regulatory agencies. And this council will help ensure that we fill gaps in the regulatory structure where they exist and where they emerge. It will improve coordination of policy and help us resolve disputes across agencies. And most importantly, it will have the power to gather information from any firm or market to help identify and help the underlying regulators respond to emerging risks. The Council will not have the responsibility for supervising the largest, most complex interconnected institutions, and the reason for that is simple. That is a highly specialized, complicated task. It requires tremendous institutional capacity and organizational accountability. Nor would a council be an appropriate first responder in a financial emergency. You cannot convene a committee to put out a fire. The Federal Reserve is the best positioned to play that role. It already supervises and regulates bank holding companies, including all major U.S. commercial and investment banks. Our plan is to give it a carefully designed, modest amount of additional authority and clearer accountability for the Fed to carry out that mission. But we also take some important authority and responsibilities away from the Federal Reserve. Specifically, we propose removing from the Federal Reserve and other bank regulators oversight responsibility for consumers. Historically, in those agencies, consumer interests were often perceived to be in conflict with the broader mandate of the institutions to protect safety and soundness. That brings me to our second key priority, consolidating protection for consumers and ensuring they understand the risks and rewards associated with financial products sold directly to them. Before this crisis, many federal and state regulators had authority to protect consumers, but few viewed it as their primary mission. As abusive practices spread, particularly in the market for subprime and non-traditional mortgages, our regulatory framework proved inadequate. And this lack of oversight led, as the chairman said, led millions of Americans to make bad financial decisions that emerged as a core cause of this crisis. Consumer protection is not just about individuals, but it's also about safeguarding the system as a whole. Now, this committee, the Congress, the administration have already taken important steps to address consumer problems in two key markets, those for credit cards and the beginnings in mortgages. And our view is that those are a sound foundation on which to build on more comprehensive reform. We propose the establishment of a consumer financial protection agency to serve as the primary federal agency looking out for the interests of consumers of credit, savings, payments, and other financial products. This agency will be able to write rules that promote transparency, simplicity, and fairness, including standards for standardized, simple, plain vanilla products that have straightforward pricing. Our third priority is to make sure that reform, while discouraging abuse, encourages financial innovation. The United States remains the world's most vibrant, most flexible economy in large measure because our financial markets create a continuous flow of new products, services, and capital. That makes it easier for the innovator to turn a new idea into a growing company. Our core challenge, though, is to design a system which has a proper balance between innovation and efficiency on the one hand and stability and protection on the other. We did not get that balance right, and that requires substantial reform.